back to our Life Wedding DLC. We are now officially heading on to the last preparation of the wedding, which is the dance. Right on time, you enter Baxter's office for your next meetup. He was waiting there for you. Hello, were you both able to find pieces you're happy with? I think so, it's gonna be wonderful. Yeah, as it should be. What shall we be doing today? I feel like we should begin the dance session.
Exciting.
Oh, you want to get started on that? Exciting. Baxter gestured down to the other door in the space, rolling his wrist to point with his whole hand in an extravagant gesture. There's a room here in the building you can use for dance lessons. I'll need to schedule it, of course. We'll need to be certain there wouldn't be any conflicts. If you could wait a moment, please. He pulled out his phone, swept his finger a few times as his brow furrowed as he checked some sort of calendar. He tapped something with a flourish and looked up with a grin. Cove watched with open antsiness. Cove and I can attend lessons in the afternoon. Then with Chico, we can have the evening. I believe I can pencil us in as early as tomorrow for the first sessions. Happily, there is enough vacancy in the event room for individual sessions. One-on-one lessons are ideal for this. Every person is at their own level and will need guidance with different aspects. I can get everything arranged today if that works for you. Cove nodded seriously. There was no hesitation coming from his corner despite his jitteriness. Let's do it! Yeah, we'll both put our dancing shoes on. Baxter placed the phone down to clasp his hands together. His enthusiasm was hard to miss.
Excellent.
I'll make it happen. And he did. Baxter made the necessary arrangements right afterwards. He asked for input occasionally and finalized the times. He planned each detail out exactly. Any specific idea that Cove or you had was jotted down and added to the considerations. What kind of music are you thinking of? Would you rather go with something fast or something slow? It doesn't have to be the ballroom staples. I'm more varied than that. A recent wedding I helped with went with classical music for the first half and then early 2010s dance music for the last half. There's no wrong answer to this. Cove shrugged and left space for you to answer. I like classical music. I would want love songs to dance to. Theatrical music, pop music, traditional wedding music, alternative, hard rock, country songs, jazz. It'd be cool to be throwbacks. I think it'd be fun to use video game soundtracks. That'd be pretty cool. Can I go with? I'm more of a classical girl. The thing is, when I have my wedding eventually in the near future or whatever, I want to have like Studio Ghibli background music. It's not technically a video game, but so classical music. I felt they were classics for a reason, and they would lend themselves well to dancing together. Baxter nodded approvingly. Cove was even more supportive of your recommendation. Cool, I think I can guess some of the songs you're hoping for.
Absolutely.
Of course, and speaking of, let's chat about particular tracks. After continuing to discuss music selections for a while, your office time with Baxter finished and it was time to leave for the day. Goodbyes were said, knowing that the separation wouldn't last long. Tomorrow wasn't far. The hours passed by quickly. It felt like a blink by the time the session rolled around. A bit after lunch, you drove Cove over to his first solo dance lesson with Baxter, who was definitely nervous on the drive there. Despite his usual anxiousness, he insisted that he wanted to do the lesson on his own. He would show you his moves after he practiced. You wished Cove luck and dropped him off, hoping he had a good time. You drove off as soon as they disappeared into the building. The plan was to run errands until it was time to pick him back up. You had heard about a new store that had opened recently. It was close enough that you decided to check it out and see if they had anything worth getting. Unfortunately, the store didn't have a good selection compared to the other options, but you stalled in the snacks section. You debated buying something in order to not leave empty-handed. About chips, a chocolate bar, a box of sugar-free snacks, a box of healthy fruit snacks, pre-portioned packages of cheese and jerky. You love a store without buying anything after all. Fruit snacks. Sugary fruit snacks. You remember the colorful ads for the fruit snack from when you were a child. It felt nostalgic as you brought the box to the checkout. Another store that you knew would have what you needed was minutes away. A short drive later and you were on your way to finishing your errands. It was nice to keep busy while waiting for Cove. When the time came, you drove the car up to the front of the building, stopping where Cove stood on the sidewalk. Cove greeted you with a smile and hopped into the car. He closed the door behind him and buckled his seatbelt with a click. Tell me everything. Cove shifted in his seat while rubbing the back of his neck. It was awkward, as you probably guessed, but not that bad. He brightened as he thought back. You'll listen to the vivacity in his voice, even as you focus on driving through the parking lot. Baxter is kind of a good guy, not a bad teacher. You pulled out from in front of the building and started making your way through the first intersection. What did you talk about with all your time together? That's great. What did you talk about? To yourself, you admitted you were really curious from what you could remember of that summer years ago. Cove and Baxter never spent time with just each other. Cove hummed and thought. We mostly just focused on the dance lesson. I think we also talked about some general wedding stuff. He asked me about the material of napkins I liked. Nothing personal. He didn't bring up anything from back before when he wasn't our wedding planner. He paused for a moment then continued. It had to have been on purpose. I guess he didn't forget how I'd get uncomfortable when people act too friendly too fast. He heard Cove tap the car door with his fingertips as he made a right turn. I wouldn't have minded talking a little more now, so we kind of made progress in more than just my coordination. A smile tugged at your lips. That was good to hear. You finally pulled into a parking space and parked the car. You couldn't linger in the car too long given your own lesson. It was time to go. You looked at the grocery bag in the back seat with the snack you had bought. You offer some to Cove. Why not? That's why I bought it. If you're hungry, feel free to snack. He probably needed some fuel after. Well, this is the worst snack to give him. Well, maybe not. Maybe he needs the sugar, you know? You pointed over at the food and Cove's eyes widened at sight. That's perfect. I'll see you later. Bye. Love you. Oh, I love you too. Cove leaned over and gave you a quick kiss. He beamed back at him. You left Cove with the car and walked with a bounce to your step to meet up with your wedding planner turned dance instructor. The doors of the office building let you in after a firm yank. The air was cooler than what was outside. You followed Baxter's direction from yesterday and navigate the wide halls. A left past the fire extinguisher and then a right at the first set of doors. You found a set of thick glass doors you peered into a large event room. It had to be the place. Ooh. Okay. This is all for just ballroom dancing. Or, well, not ballroom dancing. Dance practice. He entered this space and noticed the towers of chairs on the sides of the room. It was easy to imagine the room filled with a crowd, but for now it had all been cleared for your private class. Not very private if someone could fucking see through here. You walked across the empty tile floor to the counter at the back where Baxter was. He raised his head and waved you over, setting aside some notes he had been reading. With the paper and an elegant fountain pen left on the counter, he strode forward and met you in the middle of the large room.
Hello.
Man. Hello, sir. What happened to you? What's changed? How's life? All these questions I can't ask because we're about to fucking learn how to dance. Welcome, Michiko. I'm glad you could make it. Hey, Baxter. Thanks again for scheduling this. It was my pleasure. I hope you've been well. I'm fantastic. I'm ready to boogie. I'm fine, but I hope you're in a tip-top shape for this. I've been worse. You okay with your hand wordlessly? I'm ready to boogie. You pantomimed a few dance moves enthusiastically. Baxter chuckled. You've come to the right place. Baxter pulled a remote from his jacket pocket and clicked the button. A speaker system he hadn't noticed before crackled to life. Familiar music filled the room. He must have been busy to already have the songs that he had talked about yesterday ready. He tucked the remote back into his pocket and then Baxter turned his attention to you. He offered you his hand.
Wow.
I'll lead, at least at first. We can switch later if you prefer. His gesture felt grandly formal. He'd had enough performance practice to really feel as if he'd step out of a fairy tale ball. You immediately accepted his hand and it was time to dance. His finger linked around yours and he put his other arm across your back. Your other hand hovered awkwardly in the air. You weren't sure where to put it. His shoulder, his back? He noticed your confusion and directed you into the proper form for a slow dance. When you were comfortable, he guided you into the steps. You watched your feet, carefully following his lead. He was a good teacher and a reliable partner for dance. It didn't take long for you to start moving to the music, following the rhythm rather than worrying about what foot will wear. Baxter suddenly smirked, the twitch of his lips getting your attention immediately.
You know.
I recall that it wasn't just dance lessons I was available for, was it? I also offered to give you rides whenever you needed them, didn't I? When? In the past? Hopefully I haven't let you down with that. What are you talking about? I took a moment before you understood what he was talking about. You laughed clear and bright. I think I'll be alright. We have our own cars now. Oh, he was talking about the past, right? You were impressed he still remembered, but then again you also remembered it. It had been a particularly memorable summer all those years ago. Being firmly in the flow of the discussion died down. The only exchange was the music and the sound of his shoes on the sleek floor and time with each other's. So tell me, how did things go with Cove? You still dance off, and what happened to you after that summer? What happened? I could finally ask, what happened? Something terrible must have happened, because he wants to forget about anything that happened after that summer. He faltered in his steps, throwing the dance to a halt. He recovered quickly, his toes going back to precisely formed motions, but his face still showed the strain of the upset. It's kind of strange how completely you disappeared after your vacation. Did something happen? Oh, the face! What is wrong? He took a deep breath. Tremors went through his shoulders from the effort of keeping his perfect poise. I apologize for managing so thoroughly, not even attempting to keep in touch. It was unkind. His lips twitched. It was closer to a grimace than anything resembling a smile, even though you thought that's what he was attempting. I didn't think it mattered at the time to end it completely once I left Sunset Bird behind. At least that's what I told myself, or rather what I hoped would be true. I wished hard that when you and everyone there didn't see me anymore, that you'd never think of me again. You'd go on with your lives happily and I wouldn't factor into it. He paused again. How did music sound so much like cold silence? That doesn't make much sense to you, I imagine. Baxter offered a one-shoulder shrug for your supposed trouble. Wait. It's the internal story of my life. I want to be liked, but I can't be important. A friend for a season, a planner at a wedding. That's me. I'm not like him. What are you talking about? Kova is a fiance. He stays. He tries. Clingy, I think your friends and family like to joke. I never thought so. He didn't even care for me, but was willing to dance together to do a better job for his wedding. In life, there are just some ones, and then there's the one. You found your one, and I'm genuinely thrilled you did, and that he found his. All I want is to assist with that happiness and to not get in the way of it. But neither of us are here for our old relationship dynamic. What did we have? Was something going on between us that I didn't know? Or between you and him that I didn't know? What's going on here? That's ancient history. We don't need to get mired in the past when the future is so bright. Baxter's tone was pointed with finality. That was as much as he would say. The pace of the dance sped up, going back to what had been before. You nearly stepped on his foot at the sudden change. Since he clearly was not going to discuss it more, you didn't attempt to pry for more details. This had gotten into incredibly personal territory. You deserve to be important. He dropped his gaze at your words, uncomfortable with your sincerity. He decided not to push anymore, and the tension slowly drained out of him. Baxter schooled his face, and for all the world appeared like the conversation had never affected him. Do you still dance often?
No.
I don't compete anymore, if that's what you mean. I haven't even kept up with it as a hobby lately. I do it for weddings, if the couple would like me to assist. He gazed into the distance, somewhere else for a heartbeat. Then he came back to you and smiled. I still love dance, clearly. He wiggled his eyebrows and put emphasis on his movements. You had to admit that he appeared happy enough during the session. There just isn't room for everything. I imagine that you've dealt with similar situations in your adult life. Bummer. You understood what he meant. What fit in your life was different now from what it had been years ago, too. Thanks for giving me an excuse to make time for dance. Aw. At least all those lessons paid off for you. The feeling is mutual. You also love the excuse to dance. The session was a lot of fun. If only the world gave you more excuses to dance, that would be a planet you'd love to live on. How did things go with Cove? Baxter chuckled as he led you to the left. You followed, watching his reaction more than your feet. Cove is a remarkably sweet man. You have nothing to worry about, in more ways than just his dancing. But I won't say anything else. Instructor, client privilege. That response piqued your interest past simple curiosity. What had happened? The question was plain on your face, but Baxter suddenly focused on your heels, with him staring down where you pay more attention to your timing. Very nice. It was clear that you weren't going to get more out of him on the topic. You focused on the movements. The acoustics of the room were surprisingly good for dancing. The music was at a good volume, and despite the tile flooring, the tapping of your steps didn't echo distractingly off the walls. You both continued to dance as the song cycled through and back. Thoughts played in your mind about the surrealness of reconnecting with Baxter again after all these years without contact. However, that was secondary to your goal of dancing well in your upcoming wedding to the love of your life. It wouldn't be too much longer until you would be doing this with your husband. You asked to lead. You wanted Baxter to continue leading the dance. My turn. Can I lead now? I was about to suggest that if you want to give it a try. You both rearranged your positions and you're off across the floor. It was different from following Baxter, but it didn't take long for you to rediscover the right tempo. By the end of the session, night had fallen. You said goodbye to Baxter and Cove came to pick you up in the car. You mirrored his actions from earlier in the day, climbing to the passenger seat and clicking in your seatbelt. He took the opportunity to copy you as well. So tell me everything. The amused sparkle in his eyes let you know that using your words was completely and utterly intentional. It was really nice. It was fun. It was awkward as expected. I'm glad he did it. I'm not sure what to think about it. Your shoulders. It was really nice. You enjoyed connecting with Baxter and couldn't wait to dance with Cove in the near future. Cove grinned widely, happy for you. I'm glad this was a good idea. Also, did I think you were buying me a snack earlier? It was good. You're welcome. I hope there's some left. You craned your neck around to inspect the back seat. You saw an additional sack and Cove laughed. Don't worry, I didn't eat everything. I bought some drinks to go with them. I thought they'd be nice for a post-dance pickup. Cove better know how much you loved him, especially in moments like this. Hey, seriously, what did you and Baxter talk about? You settled in quietly for them. No, I want to know. You couldn't forget how Baxter phrased it all. You were too focused. When you were together, did something happen? I don't know. He sounded truly confused. He tried to think back, but it was apparent that nothing came to mind for him. We didn't talk about anything important. Why? Did he say something to you? It seemed like he was implying something. The angle of Ko's eyebrows crept into concerned territory, so you elaborated. It wasn't bad. It actually seemed good. He thinks you're sweet. Ko's brows pinched together. They were now approaching deep thought. I guess... Well, I'm not good at dancing. I never have been. You know that. It's hard and nerve-wracking. And I made it clear why I was going through with something I'm not cut out to. Who it was for. Oh, he showed a soft smile and his eyebrows evened out to normal. Maybe that's what he meant. You blushed, your eyes straying to a window. The parking lot had emptied out from earlier this afternoon. It really was just you and Ko. Maybe it was. You felt very lucky to have such a loving fiance. With the day's arrangements taken care of, Ko pulled out of the empty lot and started to drive away. Next time you were scheduled to come by, it would be for the usual kind of office visit, no dancing required. You highly anticipated meeting back up with Baxter. You had a good feeling about where this wedding was going. And I believe this is the last session with Baxter before big wedding day, or at least I'm hoping. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today's episode. Stay beautiful, and I will see you guys in the next one.